This is the Lara Croft that gamers want, and this is the Lara Croft that woke wants. Alex Wilton Reagan, the voice actress for Lara Croft in the new Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis and Catalyst games, has drawn some controversy over a remark she made in an IGN Live interview where she said the following.
It's not just one for the women, it's the girls, it's the guys, it's the gays.
Shut up!
So she says Lara Croft, the character that started basically as a Playboy pinup girl with guns, is for the girls and the gays. The character that rose to fame because teenage boys loved her is somehow for girls and for gays.
Right.
That makes zero sense, and if that was not enough, just a couple of days ago in an interview with Polygon, she also said, "In culture, we're very used to seeing men being self-possessed because we live in a patriarchy. We're used to seeing portrayals of confident male characters on screen and in our video games, but this is a very confident woman. That was created by men, for men," she forgot to mention that part, but I just thought I would add that in, and the quote goes on to say, "And I find that incredibly inspiring." But you know what? It's been 30 years since Lara Croft debuted, and some things have changed, so maybe she's right. Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis is at this point probably my most anticipated game, until I remember that the Ocarina of Time remake is coming out, but then again that game comes out this year, so Atlantis is my most anticipated 2027 game, I guess I'll say it like that. Legacy of Atlantis so far looks like it's gonna be a fun game. I haven't noticed anything in the gameplay trailers yet that I think is problematic, except for the fact that they nerfed her chest considerably. I mean, look at this. Dude, they have to be bigger.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Where are they? Where are they?
Like, I don't mean to be crude,
Sure, Dan.
but those melons are one of Lara Croft's defining personality traits. They're as much a part of her character as her wit, her double guns, and her acrobatics. So aside from that, the game looks really good. I hope that they change it to what the fans want, but even if they don't, I think she looks fine. The game looked solid so far. But then, Alex Wilton Reagan, the voice of Lara, had to go and say what she said. And now I am a little bit worried. When you take that first statement by itself, to me, it doesn't sound that bad. I mean, I even kind of agree with it to a certain degree. Of course, Lara Croft is for everyone who likes games, and there's a lot of gay people out there who like video games, obviously, that goes without saying. Gaming has always had a diverse audience, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here is where it goes off the rails. Leftist politics has been forced into every possible orifice in the body of gaming, where it does not belong. And now it's just impossible to avoid it. So if a guy like me just wants to play a good game with a decent enough story, I can't do that with today's AAA games without being lectured about some stupid developer or actor's opinions on Donald Trump, or whatever the culture war topic of the month is. So now it's to the point that if a developer or actor's statement even slightly sounds like it's influenced by woke ideology, then people like me are gonna tear it apart instantly. It's a necessity and an obligation to push back against leftism in all of its incarnations because it's too dangerous. I know gays in my life who are decent people, and some who are not. I don't have a problem with them, generally speaking. I don't hate them or anything, and I don't find that specific statement itself problematic because it's inclusive of gays, but a statement like that, made in the year 2026, will inevitably draw backlash. And why is that? Because this group of people, and more importantly, the ideology attached to it, has been inorganically forced into everything in the gaming world. You can't avoid it. Let me give you some more examples so you can see the pattern. Ellie in The Last of Us was turned gay for no reason. She was straight, or at the very least, it was totally unknown. Her friend Riley, Ellie referred to her at least once before the DLC as just her friend, not her girlfriend.
My best friend was there. Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die.
And then Neil Cuckman, that is Neil spelled Kneel, Neil Cuckman took over. He made the DLC, and suddenly the entire thing is about a 14-year-old girl being gay.
Weird.
Tanya and Melina in Mortal Kombat turned gay. No reason, just turned gay. Korra in the Avatar series turned gay. She was straight, and so was Asami, but then out of nowhere, they're just gay for each other. We've seen Aloy in Horizon pushed hard in that direction too. It's the same script over and over. You take an established character, you strip away what made her appealing to the original audience, and you retrofit her to check modern boxes. And then you have to look at people like this, presenting games at big video game events that a lot of kids are going to be watching, and we're expected to pretend that nothing's wrong. I can go on and on with example after example. There's Star Wars Outlaws, Concord, Forspoken. The list of recent flops is long, but that's not the point. When you invite that ideology in, like Alex Wilton Reagan did, you're not just inviting the gays, you're inviting the entire package. So that means the activism, the pronouns, the rewriting of lore, the hostility toward straight male fans who built the industry. And contrary to popular belief, these people are not gonna buy your game. Not in any numbers that matter. But you know who will? People like me. People who just want to enjoy a good game with a good story. If you put out a good game, I'll buy it if it's my kind of game. I'm into narrative-focused third-person shooters, so the Tomb Raider reboot series, that was right up my alley. But if you try to force this stuff down my throat, I will avoid you like the plague, and if I can, I will
Incinerate!
So let's talk about the Tomb Raider series specifically for a minute. The original Lara was designed by a team that understood that male fantasy and female empowerment could coexist. Core design in the UK, they didn't sit around worrying about the male gaze, they just made an icon. The reboot trilogy walked a smarter line. It gave Lara depth, vulnerability, and growth without fully erasing what made her special. Sure, there was talk early on about making Sam and Lara a thing, but thankfully that idea got kicked to the curb. The game sold millions because they respected the audience, for the most part. And now with Legacy of Atlantis, the creators actually responded to the criticism. They said, "We're not trying to make one camp happy and the other camp miserable. We don't think of it that way. We're just like, hey, this is Lara, this is who she is, and this is the icon that we've come to know. How do we bring her into the most fully focused version that she's ever been presented in? She's Lara, she's the icon for a reason, so we just want to do justice to her." Okay, that sounds promising. I want to believe them, but actions speak louder than press statements. We've heard "just trust us" from developers before, only to get another lecture or another character arc that feels like it was written by a Tumblr blog from 2014. Here's the bigger picture. Gaming used to be an escape, a place where merit, skill, and fun mattered more than identity. Tomb Raider helped pioneer that for a whole generation. Strong female lead who didn't need to tear down men to be strong. She was strong because she was just strong, and there was nothing wrong with that. Today, everything feels like it has to be a political statement, and when the statements keep alienating the core audience that actually buys full-priced games year after year, the industry is gonna suffer. So I was tempted to just take that statement and set it to the side and just wait for the game. But then Crystal Dynamics and Alex Wilton Reagan had to open their mouths again. Jeff Adams, the experienced director for the game, stated the following in an interview with Polygay. He says, "We wanted to make sure that it felt like it was a believable, real outfit, that it's real gear that's up to the task." Dude, Lara Croft is a small little woman fighting multiple velociraptors that are bigger than her, and she even goes up against at least one Tyrannosaurus Rex. But you want to make sure that her clothing is realistic. I am flabbergasted by this statement. We see her outrunning a T-Rex and multiple raptors, but that to you is apparently realistic. But her chesticles? Apparently those are not realistic enough. We gotta tone those down because they're too big. They might slow her down while she's outrunning a pack of T-Rexes. FYI, a human could never ever outrun a T-Rex that is actively hunting you. Even Usain Bolt ain't outrunning that. Alex Wilton Reagan in this same interview also says, in culture we're very used to seeing men being self-possessed because we live in a patriarchy. We're used to seeing portrayals of confident male characters on screen. There's that buzzword again, patriarchy. First of all, no, we're not living in one. You want to see a real patriarchy? Go live in Afghanistan, where women can't have opinions. They can't work, you can't go to school, and you can't step outside without a man's permission. Why don't you try go living in that world? These actors and actresses need to stop making political statements. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. She says we're used to seeing men being self-possessed. Yeah, you know why that is? Because all throughout human history, it was the men who had to be self-possessed. It wasn't a choice that men went out, hunted, and did the things that we were supposed to do. That was not a choice. It wasn't. It was a biological imperative. There was no other option. We had to, otherwise we died. You can go back in time as far as you want, it's always going to be the same. Men in leadership positions, men fighting and dying in the wars, men creating civilization, and all of these things. And so with all that history behind us, we finally came to a point where we created a civilization so successful that we were able to just sit down and think about stupid things for long periods of time without having to worry about some predator trying to eat us. But with this newly civilized world that men created, the bedrock of this civilized world is the very same biological imperative that drove us to get up and hunt. That will never, ever, ever go away. And if you tear it away, what you're doing is destroying the bedrock. And what happens when you do that? Well, everything that's built on top of that bedrock will inevitably collapse. And that's exactly why the original Lara Croft worked so well. She was strong, sexy, and capable without needing to emasculate every man around her. She thrived in a world where both sexes had roles that complemented each other. That's the icon fans want back, not another lecture on how men are the problem. I'm Switchblade, done.